Sporadic protests have erupted in parts of Kenya, particularly in areas that strongholds of opposition leader Raila Odinga. Unconfirmed reports say 3 people have died, but Acting Interior Minister Dr. Matiang'i is adamant that nobody has been killed and no live ammunition have been used on those protesters. The situation remains tense in the East African country after the incumbent Uhuru Kenyatta retained his seat as the head of state. Our East Africa correspondent Sarah Kimani has just returned from Kibera in Nairobi, where police are engaging with protesters in running battle, and she joins me now this afternoon. A very good afternoon to you again, Sarah. Thank you so much for joining us. What is the situation in Kibera currently?
As we speak now, Kibera is on fire. Police and protesters have been engaged in running battles since very early in the morning. In fact, it started last night. And those police who are there are using live ammunition indeed, because we have proof in our pictures. They're firing tear gas, and also they're using water cannons. Now, what they're saying is that the reason they engage in the protesters is because most of them are looting shops. They have burnt tires on the roads, and they're blockading roads, and so they're preventing those people who are not interested in the protests from carrying on with their business. So the situation in Kibera is very tense. We have not been able to witness any people being who have been shot, but a lot of people, we have seen police use their batons to beat people and to push them back into their villages and into their homes. A lot of screams from women, and gunfire has been rent in the air there since last evening.
And what are their grievances?
Well, the grievances by the protesters is that the election results that were announced yesterday declaring President Uhuru Kenyatta as a winner and that he is heading for a second term as the president of Kenya are not true. They said that they heard from former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, who most of them support, that the election was massively rigged and that the victory was stolen from him. And so they're saying that if Raila Odinga is not declared winner, if Raila Odinga is not sworn in as the next president of Kenya, then they will not move out of the streets. In fact, some of them have been chanting slogans saying no Raila, no peace.
And has the president or the opposition leader Raila Odinga spoken?
Well, we expect Raila Odinga to be speaking any time now. He has called a press conference together with other opposition coalition partners. Yesterday, President Uhuru Kenyatta, when he spoke in his victory speech, he extended a hand of friendship to former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. He was very conciliatory in his tone, saying a lot of things have been said during the campaigns. The country is deeply divided. But he said that every Kenyan, including former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, should now put the campaigns behind them and work together to build a country, to unite the people. And he actually said that our neighbors should now sit together, share a meal, shake their hands, and say that the elections is behind us. It is time for the country to come together. But it will be difficult because 6.7 million people voted for Raila Odinga, according to the results that were declared yesterday. 8.2 million voted for Uhuru Kenyatta. So Kenyatta has a big task to unite and to bring on board the 6.7 million people who voted for Odinga, most of them feeling aggrieved that once again an election was stolen from Odinga. We expect probably that former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, when he speaks this afternoon, he will be calling for calm and calling on his supporters to exercise restraint. He still has said that he's not moving to court. We don't know if he's now going to decide to go to court or what the next move will be.
So what's next for the country? Are we likely to see any fears of a repeat of 2007 post-election violence?
As it stands now, it's difficult to tell. Police are putting their feet firmly on the ground, dealing very heavily with protesters. In fact, in all those areas where Matiang'i, the acting security minister, mentioned, the people have not been able to move out of their villages or out of the precincts of their slums to get into the highways like it happened in 2007. Most of the protests and the fighting between them and the police is happening inside the slums. We haven't seen them move out. In other areas of the country, country where you would have expected celebrations, there's tampered celebrations. People have not really come out because Kenyatta was very clear that even though the celebration should be tampered so that the country can start healing. So probably then there may not be an eruption of violence across the country, but this sporadic chaos will continue unless, of course, a solution is found, unless, depending on what the opposition said this afternoon, and depending on whether there will be any dialogue, probably open dialogue going on between former Prime Minister Raila Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta. And now Kenyatta has been gazetted as the winner of this election, so we expect that he will be sworn in soon for his second term.
All right, Sarah, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for updates. We'll certainly be in touch with you in later bulletins. That was our reporter, Sarah Kimani, speaking to us live from Nairobi, responding to the Kenyan election victory of President Uhuru Kenyatta.